is Holly Reid Toodle with the Master Playbook, here to help you ditch debt, save with purpose, and build wealth. I'm checking in today to offer some advice for federal employees who are impacted by the shutdown. Every day I watch the news in anticipation of it coming to an end, but instead, every day I'm watching the news, and unfortunately I'm personally observing the financial impact and hardship it's having on hardworking individuals and their families. So if you are someone or you know someone who is impacted by the government shutdown, please share this video as I offer 4 things every impacted employee should do to make it through this financial interruption. Now, some federal employees may be able to afford missing a few paychecks, but for others, this could really be a traumatic experience. Consider those who are relying on their paychecks to meet their rent or mortgage payment, to buy food, pay for transportation expenses, and even cover childcare expenses. The truth is, the vast majority of Americans simply can't make it a long time without receiving their regular paychecks. A recent report showed that 40% of Americans can't cover a $400 emergency expense. So if you find yourself in this predicament, here are 4 things government employees can do as we wait patiently for Congress to pass legislation to resolve this. Number 1, review all of your expenses. This is the first and most important step to get a handle of your situation. So break out a pen and a piece of paper or use a spreadsheet, but I need you to list out all of your upcoming expenses. When listing your expenses, write the amount due and the due date. So your rent, your mortgage, car payment, utilities, subscription services, everything. Next, I want you to prioritize all of your expenses. With your completed list in hand, it's time to make some decisions and begin to prioritize your needs over your wants. Here, you want to take a look at expenses that can be postponed, skipped, or paid later. And for some, I know that may feel uncomfortable, but since we don't know how long this will last, this is a necessary exercise. As you prioritize, this is where you may have to be vulnerable. Put your ego aside and begin to call and talk to your lenders or creditors to see if there's anything you can do or any assistance they are willing to provide regarding your upcoming expenses. For example, you can call your landlord, explain your situation, and ask for an extension. Many landlords would actually prefer to keep a good tenant rather than to start over trying to find a new one. That process can be long and expensive. So use that to your advantage. But make sure you absolutely honor the arrangement and follow through with payment as soon as you receive your paycheck. You can also contact your utility companies, credit card companies, and any other lenders where a payment is due. The good news is that there are several companies already stepping up to help make things a little easier for federal employees. For example, Verizon and T-Mobile, they are offering payment options during this time. Many banks are offering federal employees refunds on overdraft fees. But don't assume these companies will just offer you assistance. You'll need to proactively call and ask for assistance and hopefully get the lifeline that you need during this time. Number 3, make a plan to pay your expenses. Now, most people pay their expenses directly from their checking account, but here's where it gets tough. What's your source of funding when your checking account runs dry? This is why everyone needs an emergency fund. And if there was ever a time to tap into your emergency fund, this is it. If you haven't been saving regularly, or if your emergency fund is running short, you may need to get creative with how you pay your expenses. If you have any money stashed in a certificate of deposit, That would be a good source to cover your expenses, but check with your bank first to see if they will waive any early withdrawal penalties. For example, Ally Bank is offering this courtesy to their customers, so definitely ask for it. You may also need to consider using credit cards or other loans to cover your expenses during the short term. But this can be dangerous ground and can get you into some unwanted debt, so I warn you to just tread carefully with this option. If you absolutely have to rely on credit cards during this time, number one, know the interest rates being charged. If the interest rate is really high, it can't hurt to call and ask for a lower interest rate for purchases made during this time frame. You also want to avoid taking out credit card cash advances since they always have a much higher interest rate. When it comes to loans, check with your local credit union. They typically have lower rates than most financial institutions. And I've seen a few step up in this area and offer personal loans to government employees at 0% interest rate over a specific period of time. As you consider all your options, try to steer clear of taking out expensive payday loans or loans where you're making early withdrawals from your retirement accounts. Yes, these can give you quick access to cash, but it may come with an expensive and long-term cost. So if you have to tap into your retirement accounts early, do it with your eyes wide open, meaning make sure you understand all the consequences and the risk of borrowing from your retirement accounts. The fourth and final action I recommend for government employees to do is to look for quick ways to make extra cash. Now, I've seen some very promising and inspiring stories on social media lately of people creatively using their talents and their gifts to make some extra cash. I recently saw a story of two sisters from Maryland, both furloughed employees, where they've started a cheesecake business to make ends meet. And I personally have a family member who's impacted, and she has dived deep into her love for pets, where she is offering pet sitting services during this time. So there are many ways to earn a little extra cash. So be creative. Think of how you can use your talents and your skill sets or making money from a hobby that you already have. Now is also a great time to go through all your stuff. I mean, all the stuff we accumulate in our closets and in our basements, and start getting rid of things that you no longer need, but that may be valuable to someone else. You can check out Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, and there are always cool apps like Poshmark that make it really easy for you to snap a picture, post a good description, and start bringing in some money. Beyond Uber and Lyft, take a closer look at sites like Roadie, TaskRabbit, Upwork, and Rover, which are all reputable companies, and see if any of those would be a good fit. Now, most of these opportunities won't make you rich, but every bit helps during times of uncertainty. And since we don't know how long this partial shutdown will last, it's important to, number one, review all your expenses. Number two, prioritize those expenses. 3, make a plan on how they will be paid. And 4, look for ways to make extra cash. I hope you found this information helpful. If you did, definitely share it with your friends, family, and colleagues who may be impacted. Let's support and encourage one another during this time. And remember to stay positive, be productive, and focus on what you can control. I'll see you next time.